angle M are right angle. R is the midpoint of segment PM. PQ is congruent to MN. Lots of given. QR is congruent to NR. Prove I'll write it underneath here. Prove I can zoom this back. Prove that triangle PQR is congruent to triangle MNR. And here's the picture. Doesn't look like mine? My triangles don't look too congruent either, but they're close enough. Okay, unapproved, the first thing you should do is really mark in everything that's given. Are you ready?
No.
Not yet?
No, really, it's better than mine.
The picture was only 4 lines, for goodness sake. It was not. Ready? Here we go. So marking. P and M are right angles. So mark that in with the little box. We have a marking for right angles. A midpoint. We'll come back to that. PQ is congruent to MN. PQ is congruent to MN. And QR is congruent to NR. All right. Our goal is to get the triangles congruent, which means I got to get 6 congruent things in my proof. So, let's go with, how many congruent parts did they give me? In the given, how many congruent statements do you see right now? 2. They only gave me 2. We've got to come up with the other 4. This is going to help us get 1. This is going to help us get 1. 2 more, there's 2 more in the picture. So, here we go. And it doesn't matter where we start, we're going to grab something from the given. I'm going to go with the first thing they gave us. Angle P. I'm going to go flow chart here. Angle P and angle M are right angles. Why am I allowed to say that? Remember, proofs have statements and reasons. That's our given information. What does it mean to have right angles? What do I know about right angle?
They equal 90.
They equal 90, but we had a theorem before. What did it say about right angles? I'm going to tell you your next line is that P, angle P is congruent to angle M. Does anybody know why? The theorem we had before, 3 letters. Remember the rack theorem? What did the rack theorem say? Right angles are congruent. I've got right angles. The theorem says right angles are congruent, so that's what lets me say they're congruent. Okay? So there's our first congruent part we wrote in the picture. We got to get 6 of those. Okay? 6 of them. Let's go. I'm going to number some angles here. Nope, I'm not going there yet. Oh, I guess I am. Put a 1 and 2 there. Why is angle 1 congruent to angle 2? Back, vertical angles congruent. Okay, that's our second congruent part. If I put these two together, I can now say that angle Q is congruent to angle N. Why is that? I think we just had this on Thursday. Nope, not substitution. If these two angles are congruent and these two angles are congruent, did you agree that the third angles are congruent? It was called the third angle theorem. We're just going to go third angle. If you've got two sets of congruent angles, I believe that was in Friday's note. We're just using it. Let me just see real quick if it's in here. Yeah, here it is. The third angle theorem. If two angles of one triangle are congruent to two angles of another, then the third pair of angles are congruent. This is the case. We got those two congruent, so we can now say the third ones are congruent. So I think that was just on Thursday. Okay, there's our third congruent part. Let's see, we got all of our angles done. Let's go to sides. Let's see, I use this. I'm going to the next thing. R is the midpoint of segment PM. Yep, start a new thing. Why am I allowed to say R is the midpoint of PM? It's given. What does that help me get congruent? Because R is the midpoint of segment PM. What has to be congruent because that's sitting in the middle of it? PR would be congruent to MR. Reason?
Where's that MR?
MR, because I went in order. P, because P matches with M, so because I started with P first, I went PR, so then I went MR. You could switch this around, this would not be wrong at this point. But that's definition of a midpoint. There's our fourth one. Where do I get the other two from? Right here in the given. PQ is congruent to MN, and QR is congruent to NR. Both of those were given, so I kind of wrote them on the same line. Not kind of, I did. So there's our fifth and sixth congruent part. 5, 6. Now if I put all of this together,
I don't remember that.
that's our last line. We finished it. We got all 6 of them. There's 3 of them coming off of this arrow because of those. Then this one, and then these 2 here. Triangle PQR is congruent to triangle MNR by definition of congruent triangles. We got the 6 congruent parts. Once you get all 6 parts congruent, you can say the triangles are congruent. You will get very good at these the more we do them, trust me. Because in about a day or two, you're going to be able to, given a blank proof, just that beginning, fill in the whole thing all by yourself without any help from me. I'm confident. It will happen, trust me. It might seem impossible today, but after about the 3rd day of it,
Do you have like a firm line on that?
everybody gets there.
I'm not done with those.
Okay, try another one. I got 4 of them.
Who
That was
does
one.
this?
We have
What?
We're not gonna have any time.
Are you gonna do a really short assignment?
One of them.
I don't know what you got today.
Nothing would be cool. I went to give it I'm gonna have to use up like 6 pages to do these.
They're probably fill in the blank ones for homework.
Oh, I can't read anymore.
And here's our picture. Okay. Okay, we're gonna mark our right angle, YWX, that's right here, and YWZ, so on the other side you got your two 90s there.
Look at that.
We've got YW bisecting an angle, XYZ. We got W is the midpoint of a segment. Both of these are going to get us some congruent parts. And then they're giving me that XY is congruent to YZ. So they gave me one congruent part. I got to come up with the other 5 from the picture. Nice. This is not too hard. This is good stuff. So let's start with the beginning given. Doesn't matter what part of the given you start with. We're going to take one thing at a time and work our way through. So, yes, it's good logic.
I'm gonna be a chef. I'm not gonna be like the right angle thing. Wait, you're gonna be a chef? Yes. Problem, Randy? Yes. No problem.
Okay, got right angle. The reason is given. What do I say right after that? Once I got right angles, what can I say about those angles? They're congruent.
We're related. I can't
Every
remember.
time you see right angles, your next thing should be to say they are congruent. Angle Y. After right angles, yes. Because which theorem are you using? 3 letters. Rack. Right angles are congruent. Deer season. Think deer season, rack theorem.
Boy.